All right. Give it a moment. All right. Big Chungus is right. So, welcome to episode 4 of the Daily Gare Games devlog. As we discussed before, Gare Games is making a twin-stick shooter of the likes of Smash TV and Xeno Crisis. Today will be a shorter episode. We're going to go over what the pixel perfect camera setup has done for us, how the resolution has changed because of that, as well as we're going to go over the updated animations for the main character, as well as how we've made some improvements in how the thing looks and feels for the player to shoot. So the pixel perfect camera, it allows you to draw on a smaller canvas and then it's expanded to match the screen. Before I wasn't doing that, I was just kind of placing things and messing around in the Unity editor. So today I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of what that means. So I'm on a huge monitor, and I'm just going to kind of switch over here to the canvas. And I wonder if I can make, yes, I can make it full screen. So this is a canvas of 320 by 224 resolution. Now, my screen is like 920 by, I don't know, 1600 or something. It's this big. Oh, actually, that's not entirely right. Let me get you my exact resolution, so I can show you how big a canvas looks, and then I'll explain how that's not. Sorry, so it's by 180. So 1080. Can I fix that? And we are back. Okay, so this is the canvas size. Now I'm going to I'm going to kind of make something in here. This is, oh, that's not the layer. Let me just get the base layer. Let's copy everything. Okay. Just to give you an idea, my monitor is this resolution, and the game is going to be presented on a resolution that's this big, which is much smaller. So what's going to happen is the game will expand to match my screen resolution, and it won't exactly be perfect. The sizing will be a little bit off. Let's get this corner here, because we have different aspect ratios. So you'll see I'll try to keep it even. Let's grab all the layers. Let's do, which one's the one that's the floor? That one. Okay. So I'm going to kind of keep it still. So for example, I can let it go wide or tall, but now I'm going to have it expand to the right size. So now it's that big. You notice that there's extra on the right and the left. And so what'll happen is that extra bit on the left and the right will get filled with black. So what does this mean for me? It means I can work on a much smaller canvas. The difference between the big canvas and the small canvas can be seen by me. I'm going to draw a red line. And I just drew a red line in that 1 pixel width, and you can't even see it on stream. I have to zoom in. There we go. And there are a lot of pixels here. Can't really do good pixel art at this resolution. It would just take forever. For example, my character is this big. For you to be able to see him, I'd have to like make him that big. Well, I guess probably that big. And if I look down here at how many pixels this is, it's telling me it's 23, but it's not. It's 67. It's like 70 pixels. But this original character, he's 14 by 18. So I'd have to make a 70 by 70 pixel, and that's a lot harder to do. For example, let's see. I think I made a security guard the other day. Forgot what I called it though. Should be in here though. One second. I gotta go find a file. But I was just gonna show what a 700 or is it a 70? Yeah, it's 96 by 96 resolution object would look like. Okay, here it is. All right. Let's get this. Here we go. Okay, so this guy, he's pretty big. And in the big resolution, he'd show up about that big. Now, I'm not trying to make pixel art with that much detail for every character. It's a lot to do. It would have, taken a lot. So, oh, thank you. So, it would be a lot more time consuming if every graphic was this big. So I'm not going to do that. I don't really have as much time to do art, because that does take a long time. So instead of this humongous canvas, I'm on a tinier canvas. And this guy would be humongous. Maybe he'll be a boss later in the game. Kind of looks like the right size for a boss too. What do you think? Look at that. Just put him there. Big old giant police guard boss. Be like Larry, because Larry, he ate one too many donuts, got real fat. One of them was radiated, and he started getting really big. And you think he's going to help you fight the aliens, but he doesn't. So we'll put him here, kind of another prop for reference. Maybe that's like a boss size thing. So oh, look at that. My bot posted a link automatically. Okay, that's the YouTube channel. Good. I had programmed the bot to drop in the YouTube channel every once in a while, so he's doing it. Yeah, Larry the Mall Cop. Or in this case, he'd just be one of your coworkers, because you too are one of these guys. You're going to be a security guard. So what does all this mean? It means that I can go and, like, for example, I got props here to kind of give me an idea of what stuff looks like in the game. I've got some doors. So I can make a new layer, which is kind of like new sprite idea, right? And I could say, let's pick up something from the internet. Say I'm going to pick something, simple, like maybe a baseball bat. I'm not trying to go too crazy. So we'll just pick something like this. And I'm going to go and kind of point out how that would work. So one, I could say, well, I want the main character to have a baseball bat instead of it is thundering here, so if we cut out, we cut out. Instead of having a gun, I could give him a baseball bat. And so I would kind of like draw something that relatively looks like a baseball bat, put it in his hand. That's too big. But you start shaping the idea. Okay, and then we'll put that in his hand. And it'd probably look better with him on top of the bat, like that. And it's still too big. Probably not the right color either. It's more of a this kind of color. But he's got his baseball bat. And you could put like something on it, right? So that would tell me if that was even made sense the way I drew it. Or I could make one of the bad guys have it. And then it comes to the idea of, well, what if I want to draw a baseball bat for the player character to use as a power-up, right? So then, you've got to draw something. Of course, this is all like quick. Do a lot better when I'm not live, but that's okay. You're like kind of just drawing something, just for this example. And so there would be a power-up on the ground that looks like that. Now these guns are a bit big, so I'd probably shrink the size of the guns now. Something a little smaller. Or I might keep it big so it's obvious that what it is, so when you go to pick it up it's easy to get. But yeah, rogue coworker, that's what the boss could be. But he's big, and something happened to him. Maybe he turned alien, or he is one of the bad people. In that case, he doesn't need to be that big. He can be smaller. Okay, so kind of the concept is I could mess around in here and be like, okay, yep, I could walk on this. And it makes sense. It's not like bigger than the character. And I can kind of tell what it is. This is supposed to be a baseball bat. Put a little bit of kind of get something like that. There we go. Okay, so this is all fine and dandy, but what does it look like? Has it actually changed the way I do things? And it has. I have had to modify a lot of the assets in the game to match this new size. So I'm going to show that real quick. I also took it as an opportunity to adjust some other things in the game. So I'm going to compile and load this. Now we're not going to have any levels because it's basically development mode right now. I've got to get all the graphics to match so that when you go from a level to the next level it's the right size, and right now it's not. I'm still working on that. I've made some of the bad guys smaller too, so just for this. Okay, here we are. So you've got a new sort of level here, like border. And if you notice, all right. So what has changed is when you shoot in directions, he shoots in those directions. And if say I'm moving left to right, and I shoot up, look at that. Much more responsive. Looks a lot better. This is basically a foundation for something much bigger, and it took a bit to figure out. And it wasn't extremely hard to do, but now that I have it, this is going to look great. Things that are well drawn, like pixel art, that are designed for this type of resolution will show up really nicely. For example, I can pull something from Xeno Crisis and just like drop it in here to demonstrate my point. which I've kind of modified this slightly. So we're gonna take that, and we're gonna hide. We're gonna just, let's make this the second layer, first layer. Okay, it's not going to be as easy as that, but I can do something else. I can go into the base level here and change the background into that sample that I had. And so I'm going to run this now as well. And yeah, I'm using Unity. All right, so this is to demonstrate it, how graphics could actually look really, really good and be in that resolution. So this background file is the same resolution as the screen. So it's exactly the pixel amount. Let me just burn these guys real quick. Okay, so what I'm noticing here, or what I want to, or rather, not what I'm noticing, I noticed it already. What I'm bringing to your attention is that the graphics up here, they are of low resolution, just like this character here, but it's been expanded, you know. So you get the high detail of the sprite in the sprite's resolution, instead of it being like this weird stretched blob and kind of foggy. It's pixel perfect. So this looks nice. This looks really good. You know, I can tell what all this is. My character is a bit small in comparison to the environment, which means that I got a lot more space to work with in my game. For example, their walls end here. I could make my walls end about up here where this green mouse is, and use this to be the top wall, and now I have a playing screen that's much bigger. So a lot here for me to work with. So let's get this back to what it was before. Okay, and so what I just pointed out is that I could actually move the level here up to about here. This white thing could go up to here, and the wall could actually be from here to here, and I would have a much bigger playing field. So this spot here, this light color, is where the character can move, and I'm thinking I'd move it to about here, and maybe even these walls make them a little bit smaller. Kind of, this is as small as I would say is acceptable. The bottom layer. So this one, because you want to have some perspective. And so this gives you kind of a, okay, there are walls. The character, he's kind of like he's angled a little bit, and this is humongous in comparison to him. You know, he's that small. You know, I think I could make the door kind of a little more angled and be about this tall, which means the walls could be much shorter, and it would make more sense. Kind of give me more how to deal with the graphics for everything else too. You could go and look through the windows. It's actually tall enough if it started here to look through the window, which is also another thing. Like right now, this looks like he's a dwarf in like a huge like giants complex. Like it looks like it's 3 times as tall as him. So I'm gonna put that in my to-do notes. That would definitely help to get done next time. To do shrink the north wall on the left. Yeah, and so this is the update for today. I've mostly been working on this. Took a bit to wrap my head around. I wanted to get more done, but doing the animations took a lot of time, and it's worth it. I mean, I could show you one more time what they looked like. Let's make it the big one though. I'm going to show it again just to give you one more look. Because without it, your character would move, but it would show him moving that way. And if he was shooting the other way, he'd just be facing this way and not shooting. Like, it just wouldn't look right. And so that was where I was spending most of my time on. It just looks better. Alright, so I gotta make the shotgun faster now. Actually, I need to make the character slower. Because like this should be your final movement speed when you have like max upgrades. But still, with max upgrades, you shouldn't be able to catch up to your bullets. I feel like the money's just a little too big. All right, well, I will reload that. That's why you need a studio manager, somebody on the side to like press the buttons for you. All right, it's loading. I'm doing it the slow way, you know, I'm recompiling every time. Here we go. Okay, so there we go. So what I was getting at is I can move and he'll shoot in the correct direction now. And you get a nice explosion sound. This is what I was talking about. I can actually keep up with my weapon, which is not good, but it just gave me an idea for a new weapon. Here, it might be cool. So, it might spawn. There it is. Oh. Okay, so I shouldn't be able to keep up with the shotgun, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. But I just had this realization, it'd be a cool weapon idea that when you are using a gun, it kind of like makes like a shield that you can walk into the bad guys with. So here's what I was thinking. It's like, let's do left and right. Like that. Anyways, I have the idea in my head. I think it'd be pretty cool. You see, it makes that big wave. Instead of it being an actual wave, it would stay in front of you and it would just be like sputtering out, but it would be like this wall you can make that burns the enemies. Kind of like how this flamethrower makes that line, but instead it just stands in front of you wherever you're shooting towards. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, what I was saying is, this movement speed, this would be max upgrades movement speed. What do you think of these? These new guys kind of fill the screen really well. Kind of like their slow speed as well. Alright. So, that was that. Oh, excuse me. All right, so that was the set of things I was going to go over for today. The next episode I plan on. Yeah, it does look like an overwhelming horde, and yeah, that's right. I I want that sort of feeling to happen a lot, but I want it to be something that you can take care of. If you're playing the game well and you've got, good weapons, which you may need the weapons to beat certain levels, but I also want to have like an achievement where you can beat the whole game with only the starter gun, and it might be an option you set at the beginning of the game so you don't have it like trick you out of it or anything. So what's in store for the backlog? One, we're going to add a new gun. Two, we're going to shrink the north wall and the left and right walls. We're also going to prepare a design document and present it during the stream. So that's what I intend on getting done tomorrow for the stream, is adding a new weapon. And it's going to be that thing I was talking about on the stream today, kind of this like weird barrier gun. I think it's a cool idea, and I want to make it happen. I feel like it has its uses, and it could add a little bit of like physics interactions to the game that might be interesting. So we'll see. Or it could just be totally useless. Who knows? Okay. All right. So we went over the pixel perfect camera and how it affected the resolution, how it gave me a better canvas size. We showed off, the beginning of a template for a level, as well as how I'm going to work on my project. We showed off the animations, which these animations, it makes the game look so much better, and it's going to keep looking better. I intend on animating all of the enemy sprites as well. Like right now, they're not animated. They're moving, but they're not animating. So that's that. And then let's see. All right. And went over a little bit of the game, like some things I'm noticing and upgrades I want to add to the game. Okay, so for the next episode, as I said, we're going to add a new gun. We're going to shrink the north, left, and right walls, and we're also going to present an actual design document. So, and the background is heading towards a science facility, kind of like a laboratory, and some people that have played Diablo 2 will know that the game starts in this rogue encampment. Then you go into a graveyard, and then you go into a crypt, and then you get out of the crypt and you go to another place. It's like a highlands, and then you go to a cathedral, and then you just keep progressing into new environments. So much like a science facility, there are stages to the experience. And so there are levels. For example, not everybody in a facility is going to have the highest level security clearance. And so things are going to look normal to begin with. You're going to come in, there's a nice office, there's security guard. Things look normal. Then there's level 1, and things look your typical beakers and glass and all this stuff, and maybe a few crimes against humanity in regards to like science experiments, but nothing extremely bad. But level 2 and level 3 and level 4, and as you get on, you start seeing the worst of the worst that these people have been doing in this facility. And so that also means that the creatures have had longer time to get to where they are in their process. So it'll start out more of like an office, then it'll be a laboratory, and then it'll be like a highly experimental laboratory, and then it'll be the stuff that no one's supposed to see. And it'll go further than that as we go on. And so the way I'm going to do the presentation tomorrow will be in this sprite program, I'm just going to make a bunch of design like document images and just say, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to behave. If you hit this, it'll do that. If you do this, it'll do that. And I'll also introduce some puzzle elements to this game, but they're going to be minor. They're going to be things that like are easy to deal with, that if you've done them before, you can go quickly through them in the speed run fashion. Like they're not going to be randomized. And so one of the questions is, do you like the game Portal? So I've only played Portal 1, not Portal 2, and I did like the game Portal. I I'll say what I liked about the game was the portal gun, this like new way of solving puzzles using that tool. But what happened was there's this ambiance that got a little eerie. Like you knew something was wrong, and everyone's making their joke, the cake's a lie, and all this silly stuff. So they kind of like spoil it a little bit, but you could tell pretty quick the robot's going insane. But you're sitting there going, yeah, but is there anything to this? Like, is it really going there or not? And then, you play the game and you find out. And it's always exciting when a game does something that kind of, some people would call it like removing the what is it, the fourth wall or whatever. I forget what it's called, but it's where you got actors on the stage and they interact with the audience and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Or they jump out into the audience and run around and go back in. And it's kind of like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. That doesn't seem normal. But it's new, and it kind of delights you in some ways, or it scares you. So in regards to Portal, I thought I was just going to be playing a boring puzzle game. Yeah, so fourth wall. I thought I was going to be playing a boring puzzle game, and then I got to the portal gun part, and I was like, okay, this is actually going to be good. And by boring, I mean like legitimately boring. I like puzzle games, but I was thinking this one's just generic, like what's the point? And it got good. And then they got to a point where you knew something was up, but you didn't know what they were going to do with it. And I hope I can introduce something in this game where there's something up and you start noticing it, but you don't know what I'm going to do with it. Now, for me to accomplish that, there are things that I cannot show on the stream because it will spoil the fun for everyone. So how do I get around that? I just don't play the whole game in front of you, right? I play pieces of it. For example, right now you've only saw one screen, and before the other day you were seeing like multiple screens. I only showed one screen today. You don't know if I have something else going on where they transition and move around and all this other stuff. Do I have boss fights? Was that silly boss fight a real boss fight, or was it just a joke? Is it going to be used in the game at all? And the people who were so lucky to be here at the beginning and saw how awful that thing looked will know where it came from. Things like that, those sort of concepts aren't things that everyone gets to, or those sort of things, they're going to be hidden and they'll be revealed. And I want them to be hidden. So I'm not going to stream every aspect of the game. I'm not going to stream every aspect of game development. For example, you're not going to get a stream where I'm in here tweaking stuff in Unity, and that's your experience of a stream. That's done. A lot of people do that already. I don't need to do that. I want to show you kind of the results. Kind of have this be an update, not just the process. The process, a lot of people have seen the process. I think having iterative results is a little bit more fun, and that's what I want to go with here. All right, so I went off on that. All right. So what's in store for us tomorrow? Design document will be presented, and we'll discuss some of the elements that I came up with. I'll hear some feedback from the audience. And then From there, I'll show off the game a little bit again with the new gun. That might be fun. And I also have modified the level a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be it for today, and look forward to having you all next time. So we'll be streaming again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We stream Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is a wrap. Now, one of these days, we'll have a really exciting headline. But today, I didn't update the headline. All right, signing off. See you all tomorrow.